everybody, I'm Dawn. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for visiting with me today. So I am going to be going over Jenn Soto's interviews that I've seen. I'm going to kind of pick them apart a little bit. I've done that in previous videos, but not really. I haven't really been detailed about it. So this is part one. I'm going to react to this first interview, or this one. I don't know if it was her first interview, but it was the first one I saw of Fox 30 Orlando, with Fox 30 Orlando. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to show clips from the interview, and then I'm going to discuss each clip. Okay? Just because I hate to make it seem like I'm trying to put blame on the mother. I know a lot of people are, and I can definitely see and understand why after reviewing both of her interviews again that I've seen. So I think it's important to take a look at this, and I don't know, maybe we'll learn something. Maybe we won't. We'll see.
Go ahead and tell us what's going on with Maddie.
Well, Monday morning, we took her to school. We dropped her off close to school, across the street from a church, which is it's right next to the school.
It wasn't across the street from the church. It was the church. And I get she can just be misspeaking, like maybe she meant across the street from the school. But even then, it was across the street from the school, but it was still a great distance away. And the way she uses we is odd. But I've known people who use we but only mean this person or that person before. Like I've heard someone say like, oh, we love cheddars or something like that, when they just mean this one person loves cheddars, you know. But however, in this situation, you really want to make sure you say everything the way you mean it, because people will pick you apart. You do not want to say any wrong words. And again, at the time of this interview, I wasn't too suspicious of her. And although now I am suspicious of her, I don't really know to what degree I feel like she is involved. But we'll see. I think it's wrong for people to just flat out say, she's guilty. I think it's wrong to do that. I think you should say, I think she's guilty of something because, and ... Don't just say she's guilty. You know, I mean, we need more than that. You can't just go around saying people unalive their child without, you know, evidence, without, you know, proof. And yes, her behavior has been evidentiary, but circumstantial. And him creeping around in the background. Why can't he just stay out of the way? Why can't he just stay out of the way? He wants her to realize he's there. He wants her to realize his presence. He's lording over her in some way. I don't like that creep. I didn't like him when I saw him do this in this interview before we knew what we know about him now. And I had an idea. I had thoughts on him. And I was right. And it's not something that I'm proud of, but I was.
She crossed the street and walked to school, what we thought walked to school. My boyfriend who drove her to school drove away at that point. It was seen on video footage that she hung out in the parking lot of the church for a few minutes and then got up and walked towards the school.
Of course, we know now that is completely untrue. At this point in time, I was again not suspicious of Mom. I was suspicious of the creeper back there. She's basically telling the story as how I guess it was told to her by Stern. So he said, well, this is what happened. This is exactly what happened. So, you know, he told her a story and she took it as the whole truth. And at this point, that may have been her only mistake. We don't know. We do not know. As much as we want to convince the world we know, we do not know. So, moving on.
But she never made it that walk from, and that was around 9 a.m. when she got up.
So when we were in Orlando, we went to the church and the high school, and in my opinion, it was quite a walk for a 13-year-old to do alone in a high crime city. But of course, we know that that's not what happened anyway. But we still wanted to, because she had to walk under an overpass, and we went under that overpass, and it was very dark under there, and it was the underpass of a toll road, so very noisy. So I don't know why he chose to spin that lie. But anyway, we know that never happened anyway.
She never made it to school after that. It's right next to the school. I don't know why she didn't make it. I don't know if something happened on her walk along the way or if she got taken, but she never made it.
She just does not seem nearly as upset as she should. I know we all react to things differently. I can be incredibly calm in high stress situations, but this is at night. Like, she's been missing for more than 24 hours, and it's not common behavior for Madeline. So I'd probably be on edge a little bit, if not full blown freaking out in panic. I couldn't sit still, more than likely. Now, that being said, if she was like not being able to sit still, people would be using that against her as well. She can't do anything at this point. There's nothing she could do where people aren't going to suspect her. And I suspect, knowing how the internet is, she knows that. So, because people are going to judge a behavior. And if they think it doesn't line up with their belief system, then you're guilty, period.
And that was the last anyone's seen of her or heard from her?
Yes. I went to pick her up after school, and she wasn't there. So I started driving around, maybe thinking she took a walk. Maybe she decided to walk to my mom's office, which is pretty close to the school as well.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Why would she do that knowing her mother is coming to pick her up? Like, is this just a filler response? Because she feels like the interviewer wants more from, more of an answer to that question than what she's given. Because, like, why would she, my mom picks me up at school every day, let me walk off somewhere. It doesn't make any sense to me why she would do that.
I drove around and I didn't see anything. I drove back to the school. The school was closed. I emailed one of her teachers. They confirmed that she was absent all day. At that point is when I called 911 because I realized something was truly wrong.
So she realized something was truly wrong, and Dirtbag is sitting back there knowing exactly what has happened. He's just making me sick. He knows exactly what happened to her, and he's just sitting back there, la-di-da. And again, at this point, I'm not that suspicious of Jenn, but we'll go on.
Have you heard from, like, any of her friends? Has she been active on any social media?
She hasn't been active on social media, none of her chats, none of her games. We did contact all her friends. None of them had seen her Monday or heard from her. There's no update.
And I have to ask this, and I know I hate doing it, but is she the type that would run away? Has this happened in the past or anything? Has she ever threatened to run away?
Never. She's never ever mentioned anything like this before, and she's not the type to want to do this. She did accidentally leave her phone on Monday, which is kind of normal for her. She's got ADHD and very forgetful. So she left her phone at home, so there's no way to trace her. They tried tracing her school laptop, but that's off, so it's not pinging to anything.
And of course, we know what happened to that school laptop. that dirt bag behind her, put it in the dumpster with her backpack. Did he honestly think no one would find that? I mean, how stupid does he think the police are? Well, we know from his Reddit post that he is an arrogant prick and thinks he's smarter than everybody else. So yeah, he probably thought it was an ingenious idea to dump the laptop in the backpack in the dumpster like that. What a doofus. I mean, thank God he did, so they can have that evidence, but I'm getting a cramp in my foot. But yeah.
Jen, what is your fear? I know you mentioned she's on games and stuff. Do you think she could have like met somebody and tried to meet up with them?
From she's open to us. She's open with us about, if she's got a crush with anyone. And she told us she had a crush on someone at school. And I looked at their messages. Nothing was weird. I looked at all of her messages, all of her deleted messages. Nothing seemed weird. It didn't seem like she was talking to anyone. So I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like she may have been taken, because this is not like her at all to just disappear and not tell us, not let us know where she's going or who she's with. Yeah.
What are you getting from law enforcement? I mean, are they actively searching for her? I mean, what happens now? I mean, especially that she doesn't have her phone with her.
So as far as I know, they're conducting a search around the school. Behind the school, there's a Shingle Creek. There's a wooded path area that you could walk. It's a hiking path. They are going back there with their canine dogs. They've taken a piece of her clothing to see if they can trace her scent. They're also taking their own vehicles. I'm not sure what type of vehicles, but they're going into the woods to search for her. But I don't feel like that's going to find anything right now. We've had people all day on that trail sending us photos to see if anything there looks familiar and like her personal belongings, and nothing is hers.
Now, right here, she comes across as defeated, like she knows they aren't going to find her where they're looking, and maybe that's because they've already looked thoroughly over there. But it's day 2 and she's already given up hope, which, I mean, I guess I could understand that feeling, but remain positive. And I mean, maybe she's just a glass is half empty person. I don't know, but it's just, and you'll notice this a lot in her other interview too that I'm going to do in part 2. Just the defeatist attitude, Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I'm not sure where to go from here. I'm just contacting the news to get the word out, to get some help, because I'm desperate. I'm a wreck right now.
She doesn't seem like a wreck to me. She really doesn't. But I mean, I can't judge. In the other interview, and I'm gonna do in part 2, she's shaking really bad, like agitation. Of course, there's theories on why she's acting like that, and I have my theories too. But in this, she seems perfectly even keel, So I mean, I don't know. I know we're all different. I know that, but she's just too calm. Her daughter's been out there this going on the second night, and I don't know.
So you think that she's been taken against her will?
I do think so, yes.
As a mom, what's your mother's intuition telling you right now?
I'm trying to hope for the best, but I'm scared for her. I want her to be okay, and I want her to be safe. I don't want her to come back harmed.
So I can't really see her eyes, so I don't know if she's really crying. But I've heard a lot of people give their opinion on what they saw, but I don't know how anyone can tell. You can't tell if she's really crying or not from this video quality. You really can't. So I don't know. It sounds like an act to me a little bit, but that may just be my impression because I don't trust that woman anymore. But,
I just want her back. Whatever that means. I just want her back.
Are you getting any updates from law enforcement? I mean, yes, they're searching that small area, but have they gotten any hits on any scent or anything like that?
They haven't let me know anything. They haven't updated me since I spoke to them this morning. I've contacted them to get some information or to give them some leads, but I've heard nothing back.
And Jen, there's no way that she just being, a teenager was like, maybe had a fight with you or an argument with you and was like, you know what, I'm going to go hang out at so-and-so's house and teach her a lesson. Could that be a scenario?
I don't believe so. We actually haven't gotten into a fight in like a few weeks or arguments or anything like that. If anything, on Sunday, she celebrated her 13th birthday with my entire family and she had the best day. She was so happy. She showed us all her gifts. She's just a happy girl, and she showed it on Sunday night when she went to bed. She was so happy. So, she had the best day. I just, there was no moment in that evening from when she got home from the party that she had her phone or had the laptop. She went straight to getting ready and went to bed. So I know she didn't have any conversations with anyone. She didn't make plans with anyone. I didn't see any of that.
So, according to this interview, Madeline did make it home to go to bed, but we kind of all realize now that we can't trust her. At the time of this interview, I wasn't there yet. I mean, I was still kind of, but I wasn't there yet where I just did not trust her at all. But according to her, Madeline made it home to go to bed. Now, Stern's last file of CP of Madeline was February 26, 2024. And we know now Madeline was unalive before 8:19 a.m. on February 26th. So at some point from midnight until 8:19 a.m., he took sexually explicit images of Madeline. Sorry. Maybe before she was deceased, possibly after. And we now know that all the images are of Madeline, according to the state attorney. So we know that any images found that were dated August 26th were of Madeline. So when were those taken? Obviously between midnight and 8:19 a.m. And what was the condition of her when they were taken? And, I don't want to know what he was doing to her or what was happening to her, but we do know they were sexually explicit images dated on that day on his phone. So, yeah.
And with the video that you were able to see whenever your boyfriend dropped her off, where was that? Which video? Was that a surveillance camera?
It was a surveillance camera from the church, Peace Church, right next to Hunters Creek Middle School.
And do you have that video?
I don't have that. They didn't show me. They wouldn't show me. It was actually my sister was the one at location, and they were letting her know what they saw on camera.
So I've pointed this out before. The police allegedly told Jenn's sister that they saw Madeline on the surveillance camera from the church. The police say they didn't tell anybody that. And then the police said that there was someone on it, but it was too grainy to be able to identify the person. And again, at this point, it doesn't matter because we know for a fact it wasn't Madeline. She was already deceased by that time. And yeah, so that's where we are so far. I would have loved to see an interview of Jenn after they found her. I hate saying it that way. Not because I want to see her pain, but because I'd like to see her behavior. I can imagine if she wasn't involved in this at all, that she was probably quite traumatized. So I don't know. Maybe she is in a mental hospital somewhere. I would be. I sure would be if I found out the man I was in a long-term romantic relationship was doing these things to my child and then possibly unalived her. I certainly, if I knew about it, like if I knew about it, he would have not gotten to the point to where he could unalive her. And if I didn't know about it and then found out about it, they better arrest him before I get a hold of him. You know what I mean? And I'm not even saying that to be a badass. I'm not a badass. But when it comes to my child, you better believe their heads are going to get busted. So I don't know. But anyway, that I just wanted to go over that interview. And I'm going to be putting out part 2 for the other interview. And I was going to also react to Stefan's interview. I'll think about it. But honestly, he just makes me want to vomit. I want them to let Tyler Wallace in a room with him. Just lock Tyler, not even lock him, but, you know, put Tyler Wallace in a room with Stefan Stearns. Just put him in a room with him for a little while. Just so they can talk. So they have a little chat or whatever, you know. Send a doctor in with him that could revive Stefan Stearns every time he starts to pass out. Yes. We got to do something. These perverts just running around hurting kids, doing sick things to kids. And it's not just unaliving them, but it's the damage they cause when they don't unalive them. It's just awful. But anyway, that's it. I'm depressed now. I'm going to go. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to everyone later. Bye.